And that's key right there, what you just said, like making room. And I think that the sustainability part of a nutrition plan is exactly that. It's making room for the things that bring you joy in life. And you're right, everyone kind of has a different thing. For some people, it's their cappuccino, for some people, it's a raspberry cookie or whatever it may be. But where we run into trouble is that kind of all or nothing mindset of like, I need to be 100% on or 100% in it or not at all. And if you sprinkle in those indulgences along the way, you're a lot more likely to see success in the long run.
Let's talk about, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask like a couple of specifics. Like in my world, like 10 years ago, we would always say like alcohol. People are like, I'm not giving up my alcohol. And I, full disclosure, I'm in recovery. So I'm so grateful that I don't have to be part of that debate. I'm like, I just can't drink. So it makes my life way easier. But I watch a lot of people struggle with that. And obviously like, we're going to like remove distorted drinking, or not distorted, destructive drinking out of it. But like, I'm curious what like an RD says to people these days about alcohol, like how it used to be like media and nutrition would be like, yeah, there's room. There's a certain amount of alcohol that's healthy. And lately it's more like, no, like, don't fool yourself. It's poison. It's carcinogenic. It's terrible. So like, help us understand like where you are in that.
Right. Okay. So I have to preface this by saying I am a healthcare provider. Yes. And I do have a code of ethics I have to follow. And based on the research and everything that we know about alcohol, what you just said is very true. It is a carcinogen. There is not a safe amount that can be recommended for anyone to consume. So I have to just inform people that, if you decide to consume alcohol and you want to incorporate that as something that you use as, celebratory beverage or a treat or whatever it is, you just have to do that in a way where you're informed, about the risks and the health implications that are involved with consuming alcohol. And we just try to minimize that as much as possible. And it is totally a personal choice. Each individual has kind of like what they want to prioritize in their life. And for some people, that's a glass of wine or a cocktail here and there or whatever it is. But when we start over consuming or consuming regularly or making a habit out of it, that's where we're going to actually start seeing some problems down the line, or even in the immediate. So I think you just have to kind of weigh out the cost, risk, benefit, and figure out what's best for you. And I do get asked pretty regularly, like, what are the best types of alcohol to consume and things like that.
No brown liquor. Like, what about light beer? Tell them Ritual, because there's zero proof. I've been loving the rise of mocktails now. Like, restaurants want our money and they're tired of us buying Diet Coke. And so now they make some pretty tasty mocktails. And I bought this Ritual as a brand, and I took it to a barbecue, and it's like the fake bourbon. And it doesn't get you drunk. So I realized, like, I used to drink a lot and I loved bourbon. It turns out, and this stuff tastes like bourbon. It's creepy. And like half a glass, and I'm like, man, I'm done. So it's funny when people are like, oh, I drink because I love the taste. I'm like, no. Remember your first sip. Remember your first sip of any alcohol, you probably wanted to throw up. So but I love that you said that. And then I think, and I just closing the chapter on alcohol, because I also want to talk about like processed foods and like ultra processed foods in a bit. But I do think, like, previously, I think when we were looking at alcohol, it was more around like calories in, calories out. And like, there is a room, like you have a fun budget, right? Like every financial budget has like fun. And if you want to use your fun on alcohol, sure. Like you can successfully drink. And I have seen people successfully drink what you or I would say is a lot and still maintain or even lose weight. But I think the real danger and the real problem is what we see, what it does to the body as a system, how it negatively impacts sleep.
Right.
How it negatively impacts like metabolic processes and like the actual like cellular health of your body, of your gut, of all these things. And
yes. Heart rate variability, visceral adipose tissue. Like, there's so many things. And I'm also a DEXA tech, so I do DEXA scans here at CustomFit. So I look at visceral fat all the time. And for anyone who is listening or watching that doesn't know what visceral fat is, I'll just define it really quick. Visceral fat is the fat that's in your abdominal cavity surrounding your organs. So we know that if you have excessive amounts of visceral fat, you have a higher risk of cardiovascular disease and diabetes and all these chronic conditions that you really just don't want. And we know that alcohol consumption and processed foods tend to increase visceral fat. So even if you're able to lose weight and still incorporate alcohol in your diet regularly, there's other things that we know that are not benefiting from that regular consumption. So I encourage people to look at it more as a treat if they do choose to drink, and definitely not a regular habit. Not to like make anyone feel bad if they do choose to drink. That's again totally a personal choice, but we know that it's not going to benefit your health in any kind of way.